Hello, I have my Camp NaNoWriMo mug, and I like this mug. Well, it says Camp NaNoWriMo on the back, but on the front it says cultivate your imagination. Cultivate your imagination. Hello, it's Burgess Taylor, and it's Writer Wednesday. And I have not done a writing video since last month, but there are going to be more writing videos. Today's topic isn't just about writing, it's about creativity in general. If you've ever taken a break from one of your creative endeavors, whether it's writing or journaling or art or DIY projects or music or anything like that that's creative, this could apply to that. I've had people ask me how to get back into journaling after you've taken a break from it, how to get back into writing after you take a break from it. And I've taken long breaks from those, sometimes long breaks. I took over a 10-year break from writing fiction, and I took an even longer break from art. So this is actually something I know a little bit about. And when you take a really long break from something, the longer the break, the harder it is to get back into it. People will tell you, well, the best way to get back into writing or the best way to get back into art or the best way to get back into anything creative, music, journaling, whatever it is, to just do it, to just start. And that's easier said than done. I mean, saying it's easy, but doing it's not always so easy. I mean, you could look back at what you've done already. If it's you're writing and you've already started the novel, you could look back at your outline. You could read over some of your chapters. You could form an inspiration board, either on Pinterest or a visual board, like on a poster board. For art or your journals, you could look back at your journals or look back at some of your art, see where you kind of left off or what you were doing, and is that something you really want to do now? Same with your writing. Is that something you want to continue with, or do you want to start something new? If you want to start something new, look back at some of your shiny new ideas. Are any of those something that you'd want to do? For me, I sometimes will brainstorm. Once I get some ideas down, I'll kind of map them out, do some mind mapping, figure out what I'm doing, especially with writing or a creative project. And then I kind of, once I figure that part out, do some mind mapping, I know kind of what I don't want to do more than what I do want to do. So I start with what I don't want to do and I discard those items. And then I go from some of the things I think I may want to do or may want to continue doing. I think one of the other things that's important to remember when you're a creative person is that our creativity ebbs and flows. It's like the tide. And sometimes you have a bigger ebbing or a bigger flowing. Sometimes it feels like it takes forever for the tide to go out. And then other times it's the opposite. So no matter how long a break you've taken, it's not too late to start again or to start over. For me, I write in spurts. And a lot of people will say, we talked about this in tonight's Write Stuff tweet chat. Are you a real writer or a real artist or a real musician? You could say that with any number of those if I don't do it every day. Well, writers write, artists art, musicians music. We'll say it that way. So if I'm not writing every day, am I not a writer? Well, I guess it depends on what you consider to be writing. Because I write every single day. It may not be on my novel, but I'm writing something every single day. And most of the time, even if I'm not writing, my head is in my novel pretty much every day. Even if I don't research anything, or I'm not editing something, or I'm not doing something with my novel, for months at a time, pretty much every single day I'm thinking about it. And I'm thinking about a character, or I'm thinking about part of the plot, or I'm thinking about something that I know is really not working. And with my art or with my journals, even if I'm not doing art in my journal every day, I'm doing some kind of journaling every day. Something journal-y I'm doing every day. Something arty every day, no matter what it is. Even when I was away from art for a long time, I didn't create art every day back then. I journaled every day. I took pictures and stuff like that. I did things that were creative and kind of artsy, smash booky kind of journaling, so it was kind of arty, and I did some scrapbooking, which is kind of arty crafty, but I wasn't really drawing. Every now and again I would do a doodle, like we were having pancakes and I had the log cabin syrup and I would drew out the little log cabin or something like that. You know, every now and again I'd draw something out for one of my kids when they were really little. But I took such a long hiatus from art. When I got back into art and I started adding art to my journals, I had so much self-doubt, so many questions, so much hesitation and caution, and all of that freedom I felt back in elementary school and middle school and high school when I would do art had left me. And the same way when I took the 10-year hiatus away from writing fiction, I wrote poetry during that 10 years, but I didn't write any fiction really. And there are various reasons for why I took such a long hiatus. But when I got back into it, and now every now and again, so I don't get burnt out, when I start feeling kind of about my writing or about my art or my journaling, I'll take a break. Some breaks come from, hey, I just need a kind of a break. Maybe I need to change things up. So when that's how I feel, I'll do some doodling in a sketchbook, or I'll work on a project, or I'll do some DIY stuff around the house. So I'm still being creative. Sometimes when I can't work on the novel, but I want the novel to kind of be in my head, when I can't, for whatever reason, work on the novel itself, whether it's block or maybe I'm not at the computer or whatever, I usually almost always have a notebook of some kind with me, and I'll do some journaling from like a character's point of view about something that I know in the novel is really not working, or something that I have questions about with a character. Maybe I'm not quite sure of something about that character, and I'll do some journaling from that character's point of view, or some journaling in general where I'll just write about things in the novel that I like or that I don't like, or something that I think I need to work on. I do that a lot. And with March being a week away, March is my month for planning April's Camp NaNoWriMo, which is why I have my Camp NaNoWriMo mug out. This happens to be one of my favorite NaNoWriMo mugs. Tonight I actually have hot cocoa though. When it comes to writing, I have had my writer's Bible. So it's time to get out my writer's bullet journal, to go through some of my stuff and go, hey, what do I have? Because this is mind map stuff for the novel, backstory stuff. This is for the witchy business story. I realized when I was looking back at some things that the book The Curse is really a book that belongs in the Witchy Business series. And I was mixing up how things ought to be in the series. You know, I got ahead of myself. And then it happens. You get excited about a story, you get excited about something. So now I'm thinking, okay, which one do I write first? You know, I've had a hiatus from them. And even though I wrote in November and I was trying to write about the Witchy Business novel, I named it a couple of different times. So now it's time for me to go back and look at what my previous ideas were for the novel itself when I first started, and I did the outline series, and I'll link it somewhere, for the Witchy Business. I did that outline using tarot. It was the first time I outlined with tarot because I used Arwen's e-course to do that. And I'm going to go back and watch those videos and take notes. And then I have the video, I think, where I talked about the curse, and I'm going to watch that, and I'm going to create a whole new Pinterest board for the Witchy Business novel. So I have some visual stuff. I think it's time for me to delve back into the ideas first, get the inspiration back for the story, and so I know where my mind is at with it. And if this were a journal, I'd figure out what journal if I need to get back to journaling. I haven't journaled for a while. Do I already have a notebook? And do I love that notebook? Because to be honest, if you've taken a break from it for a while, something might not be sitting right. So maybe it's time to change things up a little. Or maybe it's time to look back at your old pages and think about why you loved journaling to begin with. What makes you want to journal? What makes you want to write? Why do you want to write that story? Why is that story still on your mind? Or why, if you're missing doing that thing, then hey, come on, let's get to it. Let's do it. So for me, March is about getting back into the headspace for that story. I'm going to be journaling about that story. I'm going to be watching prior videos. I'm going to do a Pinterest board. I'm going to be doing a lot of different things for the novel. I will be chronicling that process. I will try to do, I think I'm going to do weekly updates in March. I have one or two options because I already create a lot of videos. So I'm trying to think of how I can do that. Wednesdays can be my Writer Wednesday videos. That's usually what I do during NaNoWriMo kind of months. So usually you get more writer videos in March and April because April's camp. June and July because July is camp. October and November because November is NaNoWriMo. For 6 months out of the year, which is half, you get a lot of writing videos. And then for the rest of the time, you get a writing video once a month, usually on the third Wednesday of every month. I'm thinking that for March and April that I will do one video on Wednesday, the Writer Wednesday, and it will be maybe vlog or maybe an update on the writer's bullet journal. Sundays is usually my plan with me. So if there's something really important going on with the bullet journal for writing, I will have a second little writer bullet journal kind of video. But I think Writer Wednesdays are going to be more vlog, and every now and again I might show what I'm actually doing in here. Mostly it'll be vlog and catch up on what's going on and why I'm doing what I'm doing for planning and stuff like that for the novel. I may do some more tarot stuff. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I am looking forward to it because it's time for me to get back into it. So I'm going to start with watching the videos because I actually have a vision board in that room, in the purple room, with the tarot all over it and everything. So I may pull that back out. So that may be back there on that desk where the typewriter is at, and I will get my laptop out and it'll be back over there for a while. And so I might end up having the tripod back up here for a while when I'm doing more writing stuff back there. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. My husband can actually move that boom arm so that I can put it right here if I needed to, and I may move all of the filming stuff to here and keep that as the writing desk. So we'll see. I'm excited. I'm ready just to delve all back into everything. But I want to close out February, and I'm working on the postcards, and I need to do some more filming of that, creating some more, and things like that. So I have a lot of stuff to finish up in February before I start with the Witchy Business novel. But I've been mulling it over in my head. And I think it's time to actually go ahead and start the Pinterest board. Go ahead and start that when I have a little bit of extra time and can kind of play around a little bit. So if you've taken a long break from something, what have you done to help you get back into the swing of things? If you've had a long hiatus, we are oftentimes blocked for different reasons. Sometimes it's not a block. Maybe something happened. Maybe you had more hours at work, or maybe you were doing some other kind of project, or maybe you had something come up that prevented you from writing or from creating art or from journaling or from whatever creative endeavor you were doing. If that's the case, like getting back into it, maybe sometimes it's not necessarily you don't know how to, I mean, you don't where to start. I think sometimes for me, the best thing to do is to kind of stop in some of the distractions that are going on. Like if I'm trying to multitask too many things and I know there's something I really want to do and I've just kept putting it off and just kept putting it off by distracting myself with other things, sometimes it's time to stop the distractions. Not that some of those distractions aren't important things, but I'm letting those distractions become excuses. I kind of shut off some of the distractions and go, okay, it's time to. And right now, February is closing out. I have 1 week left. So yeah, I think I will create the Pinterest board when I have a little bit of time. Maybe I'll do that this weekend since it's the last week in February and preparation for March. And I'll get back into the swing of things because I'm right here with you. It's been a while since I wrote. I've been writing little bits and pieces. Some days it's been pretty good, but it's mostly just been writing about the story, not actually writing the story. It's time for me to get back into the groove. Friday will be a journal video. I'm not done with the supplies. I have one more video to do for that before February closes, and I will do a review of February, and I will talk more about art supplies towards the end of February. I have my favorite YouTuber videos to do. I think I'll wrap up February with my favorite YouTubers, some of my new YouTube finds, and Friday I'll do my art supply video. What's in my bag, because I need to do that for Patreon too. So I'll see y'all again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.